Seed Folks by Paul Fleischman, and the first chapter is called Kim. I stood before our family altar. It was dawn. No one else in the apartment was awake. I stared at my father's photograph, his thin face stern, lips latched tight, eyes peering permanently to the right. I was 9 years old, hoped that perhaps his eyes might move, might notice me. The candles in the sticks, lit the day before to mark his death anniversary, had burned out. The rice and meat offered him were gone. After the evening feast, past midnight, I'd been wakened by my mother's crying. My oldest sister had joined in. My own tears had then fell, but for a different reason. I turned from the altar, tiptoed to the and quietly drew a spoon from a drawer. I filled my lunch thermos with water and reached into our jar of dried lima beans. Then I walked outside to the street. The side was completely empty. It was Sunday, early in April. An icy wind teetered trash cans and turned my cheeks to mull. In Vietnam, we had no weather like that. Here in Cleveland, people call it spring. I walked half a block, then crossed the street and reached the vacant lot. Turn and talk. What do you know about the Kim so far? Three, to the two, to the one-zaroo. I walked half a block, then crossed the street and reached the vacant lot. I stood tall and scouted. No one was sleeping on the old couch in the middle. I'd never entered the lot before or wanted to. I did so now, picking between tires and trash bags. I nearly stepped on cats, gnawing, and froze. Then I told myself that I must show bravery. I continued farther and chose a spot far from the sidewalk and hidden from view by a rusty refrigerator. To keep my project safe, this is making me wonder, what kind of is this young girl doing late night in this old lot that's filled with garbage and rats? We'll have to read on to see. I took out my spoon and began to dig. The snow had melted, but the ground was hard. After much work, I finished one hole, then a second, then a third. I thought about how my mother and sisters remembered my father, how they knew his face from every angle, and held in their fingers the feel of his hands. I had no such memory to cry over. I'd been born 8 months after he had died. Worse, he had no memories of me. When his spirit hovered over our altar, did it even know who I was? I dug 6 holes. All his life in Vietnam, my father had been a farmer. Here, our house had no yard. But in that vacant lot, he would me. He would watch my beans break ground and spread, and would notice with pleasure their pods growing plump. He would see my patience and my hard work. I would show him that I could raise plants as he had. I would show him that I was his daughter. Turn and talk. What is she doing out in the lot? Three, to the two, to the one-zaroo. I would show him I could raise plants as he had. I would show him that I was. My class had sprouted lima beans in paper cups the year before. I now placed a bean in each of the holes. I covered them up, pressing the soil down firmly with my fingertips. I opened my thermos and watered them all, and I vowed to myself that those beans would thrive. Turn and talk to people near you. How would you summarize this chapter in one sentence? And how could you write the theme in one sentence? Turn and talk.